Hi everyone, good morning. Hopefully
Good
you're all
morning.
doing very well. And everybody else
Morning.
not on video, please come on video. I'd love to see your pretty faces. Um, Today we are going to discuss Picasso. So I'm going to share my screen. And here we go. Share. Can you see my screen, everybody?
Not yet.
Oh, now I can. I was about to say I
Yeah.
couldn't. Sometimes it doesn't like to work for me.
Really?
Like screen sharing sometimes decides to not work.
Right.
I know that happened on the first day of art class.
Oh, okay.
I just could not see your screen, so I had to follow with my phone having the thing up.
Yeah.
So
Good. So
that
today
happened.
yeah, thank you, Jared. Very nice. But today we're going to discuss Picasso. Picasso was a cubist painter. Okay, he was known for painting, drawing, sculpture, stage design, and writing. So he was a multi-talented man. Actually, he was quite the genius. People say he was a prodigy, a child prodigy. So he was very, very good right from when he was a kid. So after, doing all these studies, I'm beginning to think 7 years of age is a magic age. A lot of these famous artists started learning around, that time and started producing very early on. Like Picasso, his first painting was done, he was 9 years of age, and it was really good. I wish I had put it um, in this PowerPoint, but I will send it to you in the email that I'm going to send out tonight, okay? So everybody credits Cubism to Picasso, but the one thing that we all need to know is that he developed Cubism along with another artist by the name of George Braque. So just Picasso and Braque together developed Cubism. This was a movement of painting, okay? And Picasso was born in Malaga, Spain, but he would not live in Spain for a long time. He would move out, he would stay in France, and then he finally died in France at the age of 91. So he lived a very, very long life. Okay? So one of the curious things about Picasso is really not his real last name, you know? His real last name was Ruiz, his father's last name. And his name is not just Pablo. Pablo, he had like 26 words in his name. So it was a very, very long name. And then Picasso decided that he's not going to use Ruiz. And he took on his mother's maiden name and called himself Pablo Picasso. Okay, that was a fun fact. Just wanted to let you know. Now, let's look at his painting education. Look, he started training at the age of 7 with his dad. Okay, he attended the School of Fine Arts in Barcelona. Then
Hello?
in 1897,
Auntie, auntie.
okay, I'm going to.
Okay. मैं
Uh,
okay. garage में आऊँ?
Okay, so let me see. In 1897, he attended another school in Madrid called the Real Academy of Bella Arts. But instead of going to school, he just would like to go to the museum and study paintings of Rembrandt and El Greco and Goya and Velázquez. I was really fortunate last summer, I think it was last summer or the summer before, that we went to this place and I got to know a little bit more about Picasso, because to me, Picasso was a little bit of a curious man and I just really didn't understand him at all. Like, I didn't understand his paintings. I didn't understand where he came from and, what he did in his life. And then I kind of now, when I think about Picasso, I made it a point to go to all these museums and literally look at what he did. I even went to this little museum, the Picasso Museum, where you know, every time you see Picasso's art, you see these cubist paintings. But he did landscapes, he did portraits, he did all those other things before he discovered Cubism. Okay. And in his life, he lived a long life, 91 years of age. In his long life, he went through a lot of different periods. The blue period, they say he went through the blue period because he was really sad, because he lost one of his very good friends to suicide, you know. So he was sad during this period and he painted in blue. Then later on, he came out of his depression and then he painted in pink. And then there was also the African influence during this period, okay? And then he started around 1907, analytic cubism. Now, cubism is where he's drawing paintings as little triangles and like geometric shapes. And he put shapes of people in one plane. You know, in the Renaissance, we could literally walk into a painting because they were so realistic, you know, that you could literally walk into a painting. You would think it's three-dimensional, even though it was put on a little piece of, or a big piece of canvas. But here, you will see that, you know, in our drawing or learning today, you'll see that he looked at paintings from different angles, and then he simplified the shapes and put geometric shapes in almost everything he did. Okay, he was one of the greatest influencers of 20th century art. Okay, he did not like school. He was a terrible student. He just did not like school. He would get into trouble often. Okay, and then another fun fact I wanted to tell all you little ones out there is that you know how when your parents tell you that your first word was either mama or papa or dada, because you're talking, your main influence there is your mom and dad, and you know, and so forth. So you say mama or papa or you know whatever. But Picasso's first word was his, lapis, which means pencil. Who knew? So that was his first word. That was a funny little thing that I found. And we say that he's the greatest influencer of 20th century art, and even to this day, he remains the most prolific artist. Okay, prolific meaning he produced a ton of paintings, and apparently he created like 13,500 paintings, 100,000 prints and engravings, 34,000 book illustrations, 300 sculptures and ceramics. He did ceramics. Amazing. Yeah, and I got to see some of those pieces. That was really nice too. So no other artist has done as much, you know, work as Picasso has. And another thing is that a lot of Picasso's art was stolen, a lot of it, okay? In fact, the most stolen pieces are of Picasso. So another fun fact for you, before I move on to the next slide, is that his father was so impressed by his paintings that he just gave up art. He just said, "Oh my goodness, this is just unbelievable amount of like talent my son has," and so he gave up painting. That was another curious thing about Picasso and his life. So here on the next slide, I'm just telling you, you know, when I present all these paintings, they're not presented in a certain order, and it's done on purpose. I mean, it's so this is a painting by of the family of Saltimbanques. Okay, it's a so here you can see this painting in the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. It was done in 1905. And this is a rather large painting. It's not his largest. His largest was Guernica. But this was like 7 feet by 8 feet painting. It was a rather large painting. So apparently, you can see, if you look at these paintings, let me unmute all of you. I want to ask you a question. What do you see? Do you see all that is, do you see these people are happy? What do you think?
They look depressed.
They look depressed. They do look
Yeah.
depressed. They do look depressed. So, I mean, you know, so he was, he put this painting in the background. They're all like circus people, right? And you would think that all these people from the circus would be happy and so forth. But he painted them rather depressed because he thought that these were artists and they were working for rather little money. Because at first and during the early part of his life, he didn't make much money. In fact, he was rather poor when he was younger. And then, of course, he became really rich. But he identified with all these downtrodden people. So he painted them instead of being really happy and such. He painted them kind of in a melancholic fashion. They have just a little bit of, they're pensive, they're thinking, okay, where's their next penny coming from, probably, or so forth. And now look at this background. This background is rather plain, right? Very plain. Earlier, he thought he was going to paint like a race course behind them. Then he decided, nope, he's not going to do that. And he painted a really scant background of the place that he was born. He was born in Andalusia, Spain. And apparently, his young sister, he was very close to his younger sister. Her name was Conchita. And Conchita died when she was rather little and out of diphtheria. So he was really affected by it, and he painted solemn pictures. Okay, I'm going to mute you all again. Okay, let's move this. Okay, the next painting, this one, is a boy with a pipe. He painted it in 1905. It's in a private collection. So this little boy, he painted several, there are several sketches of him standing, you know, doing different poses. Finally, what came out is this guy, this little boy sitting down with the little pipe in his hand. And this painting sold at the top at $104 million. Okay, so that's crazy, if you ask me. And this is a girl before a mirror. This painting, it's like very radical, different, right? He painted the girl on different planes. He painted a frontal plane and he painted a side plane, okay? And this was done in March of 1932. Here's another painting. It's present. You can see it in the Cleveland Museum of Art in Ohio. And this was, see, it was done mostly in blue. Now, the curious thing about the blue period, you know, even though this guy here, his name is Carlos Casagemas, that he was a poet and he committed suicide. So he painted Carlos there. And you see in the background, there are depressed people. And here he painted a mother with a baby. He had a lot of influence about the woman and the child. And the mother apparently played a lot of influence on the baby. So he painted the mother and the child here, and so forth. So in the blue period, he painted, most of his paintings were done in blue color. But later on, like, I wonder if that was really true, because when they asked Picasso, why did he paint all in blue or in pink or so forth? He said, well, those were the only colors I had. So is it really true that he painted it because he was depressed? Could be. Or maybe, I don't know. Picasso was a strange person, I think, but we don't know. So here is another painting. It's called the Le Rêve, which means the dream. See, again, you're seeing a very distorted person, like a painting of a person that's like, you know, just sort of like sleeping and sort of in a dream. This painting was done in one afternoon. Just one afternoon, he finished a painting, okay? And this record of this painting was about $48.4 million. this one is the young ladies of Avignon. It's you can see it at the MoMA in New York. And here you can see that the birth of Cubism is starting to occur. Like he's putting in, hold on, he's putting mute all. Okay, yes. Okay, so he's painting like geometric shapes already. He started that. So, and here in these two ladies, like he's painted this lady with a mask, and this one is with another mask, and so forth. So it's kind of strange how he started painting, and this is sort of the development of Cubism. And Cubism messes with perspective. Like, you know, you can't really tell, you know, what is the perspective that he's drawing from. Is it frontal? Is it sideways? What is it? Even I can't figure it out. But that's not the point of this exercise. Now look over here. This is one of his totally cubist paintings. It's called Ma Jolie, 1911 to 12. And you can see this painting at the Museum of Modern Art. The next painting here is done in 1903 and 04. I think he may have been 24 or so during this point. And you see, this is one of the, let me ask you guys. Okay, so what do you think when do you think this painting was done? Hint, look at the color.
During the blue time?
He said,
Blue time, yes, he did it in the blue period. But you know, remember I told you that he did not like to go into art, rather he went to museums and he studied things. So one of the famous painters that we haven't discussed, we'll discuss it later on, guys still stay with me, is El Greco. El Greco was a old painter that he painted these elongated fingers, you know, and he was not allowed to sign anything during that time. So what did he do? He signed his paintings with these extremely long fingers. See, these fingers are too elongated. This is not natural. And then El Greco would paint like this. So you knew it was El Greco painting.
Baby.
Okay, so this was painted again in the blue period. I'm so glad you all identified it. That's phenomenal. Now, this painting is Guernica. Let's spend a little time on Guernica. It's I saw this in the Reina Sofia Museum in Madrid. And when you look at the picture, you think, okay, it's kind of a strange painting, done mostly in grays, blacks, and whites. But you don't get the real, what do you call it, impact of the painting when you look at it in a slide form like this. When you actually see the painting, it's 11 feet. So this is 11 feet by 25 feet in length. Imagine that. He painted this during the war because, you know, what happened was there was a regime at the time during Picasso's time who the Spaniards, they wanted Germany to come and bomb Guernica. It was a little town, and so the Spanish people asked the Germans and the Italians to come bomb this little town, and they came and bombed the town, and it was a civil war that was going on. It was really sad. So the story over here is that he added, like he was so moved by it. He never went back to Spain. After he painted Guernica in France, and then it was housed in the museum. It traveled the world, traveled all over the world, and everywhere it went, all the money then went to the Spaniards. Okay, but not the ruling people, but the Civil War people who were against the ruler at the time, and it stayed in the Museum of Modern Art in New York, and then finally it went to Spain later on, and now it is there in the Reina Sofia in Madrid. Let me just look at my notes here and tell you what Picasso did, okay? What Picasso said. I'm going to quote him directly. So in this painting, you can see a woman being assaulted, children being assaulted, a woman with a dead baby in their arms, and so forth. And this was really sad because, okay, the story during this time is that a lot of the men from that particular village had gone away and they were fighting. And it was market day. So a lot of these women and children were in the city. They all had come to market. And then for 3 hours, there was bombing that happened. Couldn't escape at all. So that's what happened during this. And it was just an atrocity that happened, okay? Picasso explained the Spanish struggle is the fight of reaction against the people, against freedom. My whole life as an artist has been nothing more than a continuous struggle against reaction and the death of art. How could anybody think for a moment that I could be in agreement with reaction and death? In the panel on which I am working, which I shall call Guernica, and in all my recent works of art, I clearly express my abhorrence of the military caste, which has sunk Spain in an ocean of pain and death. Picasso depicted a wounded horse, a decapitated soldier, a woman with a dead baby in her arms, and other images of war in this painting. Okay, let's move on. So this is a very impactful painting. It's really amazing to go and see it in person. Here is, okay, somebody is doing these scratchy things. Please stop, okay? The famous painting, here's 3 musicians done in 1921. It's present in the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. This painting is that of a weeping woman. Look at that, elements of cubism. There is a lot of color in here, but most of his paintings doesn't have so much color. Okay, it's this painting, you could see it at the Tate Modern in London. This next painting is called A Still Life with a Bottle of Rum. It was done in 1911. This was the only painting that has letters like, you know, E and T and so forth. So again, a very cubist painting. How can you interpret this? It's just difficult for me to even interpret it. Here's another painting. It's called The Poet. It is present in the Guggenheim Foundation in Venice. And the next, yeah, over here, let's see, right here is the girl with the mandolin. At least in this painting, I can see the girl with the mandolin, okay? But in these other paintings, like The Poet, I can't, I just cannot find, maybe there is a figure right here, but I just cannot, if you just look at it, you can't really interpret it, okay? But here, you can see that there is a mandolin, yes. The girl is painted in different, what do you call it, dimensions, but you can still see that, you know, there appears to be a figure of a girl. He's analyzing the girl. I mean, this was done with a live model, and then he started, you know, drawing this. But look at what's different in this painting versus this, right? This painting has very muted colors, very soft palette of colors, very few colors, but then very geometric shapes. This looks like a part of a dress and so forth, you know. So he's trying to break down everything, including the background, into squares and rectangles and, you know, cubes and such. So there are different geometric shapes. One of the words I'd like to emphasize here is a new term. It's called monochromatic, meaning monochromatic means it's about the same color tone. That's monochromatic. So here's another one. Here's a card player. I mean, he drew the card player And this painting is there in the Museum of Modern Art. You can't tell it's a card player because there are some cards. But other than that, he just broke up his live model into different shapes in this painting. So what is Cubism? It is an avant-garde art movement of the earlier 20th century. It was pioneered by Picasso and George Braque. It was primarily influenced by Paul Cézanne, okay? And here, the objects are broken up and depicted from different viewpoints. I'll take you through this when we start drawing. We'll attempt to draw like Picasso. So today, what we're going to do is we are going to use the color pencils. We'll use just a few, and we'll try to draw a still life. And I told you to keep a still life. You can do whatever you want. And then what we'll do is we'll use a few of the color pencils and attempt to draw, and then later on paint like Picasso. Okay? This is my favorite part. I love to tell you quotes about Picasso. So one of the quotes he said is, "The purpose of art is washing the dust of daily life off our souls." I love this statement because okay, let me tell you something. If you go out and look at a bird's nest, okay, if you look at a bird's nest, the next time you go out and look at it, look at how beautifully and carefully the bird has decorated its nest, right? It's made a nest for its babies. And the bird has done it artfully. I think we as a people should do whatever it is that we do artfully because it's good for our soul. You don't want to have a messy atmosphere around the house. You know, you want to keep it clean and beautiful and artsy because it's really good for your soul. Okay, so that's one thing that I like about this particular statement. The other statement is, every child is an artist. The problem is to remain an artist once they grow up. See, like I'm grown up, I'm 60, but some of you are 8 years old, and and you're still a child. You can draw whatever because you don't have any, you don't want to follow rules. You make your own rules and you do your own thing. So he thinks that every child is an artist because their imagination as children are at their peak. So you can develop really well. And that's why when I give you these presentations every day, it may look complicated, but I know you can assimilate it. Even if you assimilate something, you may not follow every single artist, but you will know that, okay, this person worked like this or this person worked like that. And so you can run with it. Okay? You can make your own art in your own way. But then again, you'll appreciate art. Okay? And he said, he who thinks he can, and he can't who thinks he can't. You remember that little book, the little engine that said, I think I can. So Picasso was saying the same thing, that he said, he who thinks that he can, he will. Like he will be able to do it. If you think you can't do it, then you can't do it. It's like an indisputable law. This is what he said. Inspiration exists, but it is hard to find you working. There's always inspiration around you, but you've got to work on it, okay? So what one does is what counts and not what one had the intention of doing. Sometimes we all think, oh, I'm going to do that piece of art, or I'm going to clean my closet, or I'm going to finish my homework. But unless you do it, there's no point, right? So you have to finish what you think in your head that you're going to do. All right? Action is the foundational key to all success. So you have to act on your ideas. You really have to act on your ideas. And then some other quotes that I didn't put up on here is that the meaning of life is to find your gift. Okay, find your gift. What is it that you would want to do? Do you want to take care of people? Is that your gift? Are you kind? Are you gentle? Do you have a way with children? Can you become a teacher? Can you become whatever it is? Like you may be good at building things. Maybe you are an engineer, or maybe you're good at art. What is your gift? But the meaning of life is to find that gift, but the purpose of life is to give it away. Give it away. Give away your gift. That is wonderful. Then the meaning of art is the elimination of the unnecessary. And I'll show you when we start painting this still life that I've got here, or sketching the still life, that art is the elimination of the unnecessary. Like I've sent you photographs of some of my photographs that I took. You don't have to paint everything in that photograph. You just eliminate things that you don't think is necessary. That's art, okay? Then he also said the world doesn't make sense, so why should I paint pictures that do? That's pretty profound. Okay, so these are some of his quotes, and I think that you can learn a lot of things, you know, that apply to your life if you ponder a little bit about on the quotes of all these famous people. Okay, how to paint like Picasso. If you Google this term, how to paint like Picasso, you'll find some tutorials. The one that I enjoyed most is this one. It's from the Museum of Modern Art. I took a course, actually, I paid for this course. I took this course online. I love this particular video. This guy is a scientist, but he's turned into a curator, and he explains Picasso beautifully. So I would like for you to watch this video at some point, okay? And I told you, I sent you this picture. I said, okay, make like a still life. So this was a still life I had, you know, and I took a picture of it. And you could either paint this, or you could make your own still life at home. Bring a few things, okay? This is what I asked you to do. Bring a few things from your home, put it, and then let's sketch this from different angles and then paint it. Before I start painting, I just wanted to let you know that the painting in the background, this painting that you see right here, is mine. And you can see that at this particular website. And this is the link for it if you want to look at it. It's going to New York. 8 of my paintings are going to New York because they got accepted at a competition. So let's look at, now I'm going to move the light to my still life, okay? Here is my still life. Can you see a little bit of my still life? Let's see if I can move it. Move this. I think it's long enough. Can you see me up there? Can you see the still life? Let me mute you or unmute you all. Can you see my still life? Right here.
Yes.
Yeah? So
Yeah.
what did I create? I created, like, you know, I put a book, and there's a little book on top. Then I put a candle on a candlestick. There is a candle in a bottle in the back. And then here's a tea light holder. So we're going to try to paint this in a Picasso style. So you can do whatever you want to in your home. So create something. So what Picasso did, and I'm going to try to draw this. Was, let's take out our pencils from this package. So we've at this point, we've utilized most of our, call it, things.
They are pencil.
We're going to get,
We're going
to draw some things with, let me mute you all.
There.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to take out some of the browns, some of the grays. White I won't take because the white is, the paper is white, right? So I just have these 4 pencils. Okay, there is a brown, there are 2 brown, gray and a black. Okay, so these 4 pencils I've taken, all the darker colors, it's been, maybe there's a very dark blue too. Okay, so now here's my book. And what Picasso did was, he didn't just paint the shapes that we saw. So what he did was, he moved around the subject. So maybe he drew something. So I'm going to stand right here and I'm going to paint you, draw like one perspective of this book. So let's see. I see from this that there is a paint, there is a perspective like that. Okay, there is something down here. This is the base of this thing right here. Okay, did you even see it? This one. I will try to. So, and then I see that there is a book, so I'll use a different pencil, color pencil. I see there is a book that is going. I want to be able to draw this so you can see it. Over here, this is the book. Remember, I'm simplifying it. So I'm simplifying the vase. Here's the, I see that there is a book that's coming like so. All right, maybe like that. Okay, then I see there's another book. So it's going like, maybe like that. Okay? There's a little book on top. So I put that there. Okay, and then that book is going like so. Okay, now another thing, I'm drawing just this one perspective, then I'm going to move. Here's a little pot, so I'm going to take a different color and I'll put the pot, maybe the darker color. I'll put one perspective of the pot, so I'll put it right here. Can you see this? So what has happened is I'm just drawing different things from one perspective. Then I see an organic shape and then a tall candle. So the organic shape, maybe I'll just put something like that. And then so let's take this off. See if you can see what I've drawn. I've simplified it and I have drawn this by just standing from here. Oh, I forgot the little beautiful pieces of, oh, I need to take out a green, maybe a green. I see that there are some plants here. So I'm going to, this was the candle. So the plant is down here. So I'm going to put like some, okay, that's it. Just a little bit of color there because there's a plant right there. See, that's all I did. Now I'm going to move. So this is what Picasso did. He would move and then he would move and then he would draw from this perspective. So he stood here and then he would go ahead and draw again. So I added some more lines. So this is the round shape of the bowl that I saw. Then he moved again. He would move from a different perspective. He would look at it from a different perspective, and then he would draw again, okay? So he would move around the painting and give you different planes. So I'd like for you to think about drawing this cubist painting from different angles. And then he also drew from the top. So let me just show you how he would bring a like he would look at the thing from the top. What does it show? So let me so here's my step stool, and I'm going to stand on the step stool. Be careful when you do this at home, don't fall. And he would just go up on the step stool, and then he would draw from the top. He said, oh, it looks different. This is a different perspective. So he'd look from the top, and then he would draw from the top. And that would be his construction of this painting. So what I want you to do is break it up into different planes, like break it up into different planes, whatever still life you're doing. And then break it up and put all the shapes that you see into this one painting. Okay? And then you'll be able to construct perhaps a cubist painting in the style of Picasso. Okay? And one of the things that Picasso was very well known to do is that, remember, he gave a lot of what you call it, importance to the backgrounds. The backgrounds were equally important. So he made this analytic cubist painting so that he gave importance not just to the subject of the painting, but also to the background. So there's so that's what he did. Now, why would he do a cubist painting? Why would he go from drawing landscapes and portraits from when he was very young? He would go and copy all these famous paintings, and then he would develop this style of painting along with George Braque. We always want to mention George Braque. Why would he do such a thing? Because during his time, by that time, the camera was invented. And then we are competing also with the camera. And plus, it was very cerebral, meaning there's a lot of thought that is going into what he's doing. It looks gobbledygook to us, but it is very cerebral. You have to spend a lot of time thinking about these paintings, how it was done. So in the earlier time, like Michelangelo and Vinci and all these people, they were trying to record history because we never had cameras, so we couldn't take pictures. You remember how Rembrandt painted all his little portraits? That was his way of doing selfies. But our way today is we just take a camera, pop it, click it, and we have selfies galore, right? That's what we do. I don't even know how many pictures there are out there. That's why computer scientists are analyzing big data. You know, big data is like so much information. We have an information overload right now that wasn't there so many years ago. It's a good and a bad thing. But, you know, so that's what. So I think that Picasso, in his later life, he just came up with this cubist painting, and he just, you know, he gave the world something to talk about. He really did, and we still talk about him to this day. So that's my little 2 cents. Let me ask you guys if you have any questions. Do you have any questions? Anyone?
No.
No?
No. Something
I
you just thought of though.
Yeah.
You know that, I don't know if you would remember, you probably won't, but that game I talked about yesterday before the class started,
Yeah.
because it was before 10,
Yes.
there's actually a map on that game called Cubism, and it reminded me, and these paintings reminded me of it,
Oh.
because the style of the map is sort of like this, like
Right.
sort of like the style of painting that we've been talking about, Cubism.
Yeah.
So I just thought of that.
That's good, Jared. I'm
Yeah,
proud of you. I don't see you. You're not on the video now.
Oh,
You're not on video, but
there
that's
now.
you are. Yeah, that's interesting.
That was really funny, honestly, I thought. Yeah,
Very
I'm
nice.
guessing it's actually based off this style of painting, because with how the shapes and angles of everything are.
Right.
So
That's
that's
good.
something interesting I want to mention.
Very nice. Thank you, Jared. Dolly, do you have anything to say? No? Okay. Saroj, do you have any comments? Prem, Kusum, any comments about Picasso?
I want to say that we are trying, but we are not able to paint so nicely.
I know, that's why we are not Picasso, but that's okay. We are who we are. We are Hyacinth, we are Kusum.
I painted your basket.
You did? Let me see. Oh, nice.
Wow.
Very nice. Wow.
I don't know.
Very
Just
nice. Prem, that's very nice.
thank you.
You're showing something, Saroj? Let me see. Yeah, I see kind of a little. Thoda aur upar uthaiye, like bring it up. Yeah, that's nice. Nice. Make sure you're all. Oh, hi, Haley. That's beautiful. That's very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Make sure you send all your paintings so I can put it on my PowerPoint. My PowerPoint has so many paintings now. So it's really.
I have one on the wall.
You do?
It's not worth anything.
What? No,
Not
don't.
painting. I just did it.
Don't say that, because see, that's good. So you keep upping it. It is a very good painting. What are you talking about? That's a good painting. You did it with either, what did you use? Color pencils?
Color pencil.
Oh, that's nice. World War II. Gee.
Just the color pencil.
Okay, very nice. And Haley,
That's why it's not that.
yeah. Haley, that's very nice too. Very nice. Yeah, I would love to see all your development of this painting. I will work on it too, and then we'll see what develops. Okay. Thank you so very much. Remember that you're not so young. Okay. Remember Picasso. I'm going to send you this painting. I'm just trying to remind myself that I have to send you this painting of Picasso that he did when he was 9 years of age. So all of you are just right there. He started learning at the age of 7. Michelangelo started carving a sculpture at the age of 7. So 7 seems to be a magic number. So remember that you children, all the children in my class, you all have the power. So do it. Do the work. It doesn't matter whether it's art or not. You can, whatever moves you, whatever is your passion, make sure you do it with, but make sure you work on it. All right. And I think that's my opinion, that people are the most productive before they turn 30. I know this for a fact. Before they turn 30, they are the most productive. So I have a lot of faith in the children of the generation. And the older we get, like I am old, some of Saroj, Kusum, and Prem are old, but we still have, like, you know, we are young at heart. So because we're young at heart, we continuously like to learn, and we like to impart the learning, that whatever little we have learned, we'd love to impart it, because our experience is good. And if we don't share it with people, then what's the use of it? We would just pass away with our experience. But if we share it, then it becomes it becomes immortal in a way, right? So that's my closing thoughts. Any other questions, folks, before I say goodbye? No? So,
No.
Kusum,
Thank you so much
you also,
for enlightening us.
Yes.
Yes, I really enjoy
Hyacinth, you
your
want to
class.
say something?
well, I was just going to say that, you know, Kusum and Prem and Saroj, I want you to continue to, like, you know, paint over like your paintings too. You can improve it. Remember, all of these painters, they started with a layer, a base layer, and then they worked on it. They added more and more and more. So the paintings then, you know, come out with the, you know, they will just flower right in front of your eyes. See, when the flower blooms, what is it? It's closed inside a bud. You don't see it, but then it comes out very, very slowly, and then it blooms eventually. That's how you would look at a painting. But don't just stop at just one layer of paint, you know, keep developing it, you know, add some shading, add some colors, add some forms, and then your little painting will blossom into a flower. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So anyway, thank you all for joining me, but I am open to any kind of questions or comments and so forth.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Hyacinth.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Very
welcome.
Thank you.
Have fun. Abigail, did you show me your painting, darling, whatever you have done so far? Nice, nice, very nice, very nice. Dolly, do you have something to share? No? Don't be shy. Okay. All right. Abigail, your sisters and your brother, are they doing stuff? I don't see them. Oh, there you are, Evan. Let me see your painting. Very nice. Wow, that's very nice. Very nice. That's very nice. Good job. Good job. It's so nice to see Evan's mom too. It's really nice. There you are.
Guys, did you show her?
Yeah.
Video
Oh,
on.
my.
Show.
Oh my goodness, that's a selfie portrait. So beautiful. Wow. That's very nice. Very nice. Let's see who else is on here. Rejuan, that is so wonderful. Oh my goodness, that is wonderful. I love it. I love it. Very nice. Let's see who else is on here, whose video is on here. I see Brejuan's iPad. Yeah, that's very nice, Brejuan. Very nice, very nice. Okay. Any questions, anybody? Wonderful.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for
Right.
your
Very
effort.
Have a very wonderful day, okay? Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Host was ended by meeting. Host was ended by meeting.